Hello everyone and welcome to this video going over the public test build patch 2.0 notes. Keep in mind these are the patch notes for the public test build and the real patch 2.0 may not be exactly like this. The first thing you will notice is that the main menu screen has been redesigned. We now have the store page where the daily rituals used to be, and then on the left we have help and tutorials instead of news. These two options have been moved to the bottom of the screen, so you can see daily rituals is on the bottom left, then we got the options, then news, credits, and quit game. If we go to the help and tutorials option, we get this new menu that has tutorials on the top with a survivor and killer how to play, and then the game manuals are on the bottom. Now the game manuals are still just the text guides explaining different things, but if you click on the survivor how to play or killer how to play, it will load you into this new tutorial level that you can go through and it will guide you through it. It tells you the basics of how to play the game, and if you want to see what the full tutorial for both survivor and killer look like, I have a video showing you the entire thing, which I will link now. The next thing is the main menu music is now themed to the new chapter, so I'll just stop talking for a second so you guys can listen to that. Now this first menu here is now where all the changes were made. You will notice that the options on the left have been rearranged a bit. The Shrine of Secrets is no longer there, so it looks like there's a lot more space. And then the switch to killer has been moved up to make space for the store icon. So now you can go to the store from this character select screen or the main menu screen. And if I switch to killer, you will see it's the same for killer. They have the store option down here. They've also added this line to separate, to show you, I guess, that it's a different screen entirely it takes you to. One thing that was in the PTB patch notes was the added a new interaction allowing killers to close the hatch, because they wanted us to test this mechanic, but this hatch change will not be in the anniversary patch. So I will show you guys what the hatch mechanic looks like. Basically, if the killer finds the hatch first, they get this prompt. If they press spacebar on the PC, they can close the hatch. So once the hatch is closed, a survivor must do a generator in order to reopen it. And if the exit gates are powered and the killer closes the hatch, basically the only way to leave is through the exit gate. You can bring keys to reopen the hatch as well, but keep in mind the killer can close the hatch after someone has used a key. Again, this is a change that's just being tested in the PTB for the moment. This will not be in the official patch that comes out in June. And that covers the hatch change. Moving on, there is a new Dwight Cosmetic that goes with the Leatherface DLC. So if anyone already owns the Leatherface DLC, you will get this automatically for free. And that is this new black and blue Dwight Cosmetic. He looks super beat up. His glasses are crooked, and I guess they decided that Dwight deserved a beating because he's always getting worried and everything. So that's cool. We got a free cosmetic for anyone who owns the Leatherface DLC. I do not know if this will be in the shop or not, but since it is associated with a copyright killer, I will assume no, it's not going to be in the shop. You will only be able to get this through buying the Leatherface DLC. One of the changes that I was not expecting, but am really glad they did, is that they gave each killer new idle animations in the offline lobby screen and the store screen. So I'm just gonna cycle through all the original killers here because those are the only one that got the animation update, and let's see what their cool new idols are. Alright, so now let's talk about the store page and cosmetics and everything. So now you buy cosmetics from the store with iridescent shards, and the cap on the shards has been removed. Now, they have changed the way you gain iridescent shards, and that is through your player account level. Your player account level represents the overall progression on your account, so all characters that you play, whether killer or survivor, will contribute to your player level. Additionally, the first game of the day on both killer and survivor will give you additional experience. Each time you level up your player account level, you are awarded shards, and the higher your level, the more shards you get. Now you will notice that there is this thing that says devotion under your account level when you mouse over it, and devotion is basically the prestige of player account level. So once you hit player level 100, you will be given the option to devote your account. And if you do that, it will reset your account to level 1, but you will get more shards per level than you previously did. That is a pretty cool thing because it can basically give players who are loyal to the game and play it consistently a way to get more shards over time. So it would not take you as much time to get cosmetics or characters that you want. You see the shard count I have now is 3,100. I reached this 3,100 shard count on a Friday after the PTB released, so that is 4 days of playing got me to that many shards from 700 shards. I haven't been playing super hardcore. I've mostly only been playing at night, not throughout the entire day. So if you are a casual player, you should be able to get about 3,000 shards a week if you play a few hours every night. And you can see my player account level is already level 19 after playing since Tuesday. So now let's get into the actual cosmetic store. You notice on the store page we have character list, currency packs, and the Shrine of Secrets. So yes, the Shrine of Secrets has been moved to the store page. If you click on the Shrine of Secrets, it says it's currently unavailable, but teachable perks will be available here as they were before. Be aware, however, that they are adjusting the costs of teachable perks due to the new ways players get iridescent shards. The cost of teachable perks has been increased to 2,700 and 2,000 shards. So obviously the more expensive one is the perks that have just been released in the newest chapter, and then the less expensive one is just the perks that have been around a while. They are also nerfing the amount of blood points you get for purchasing already owned teachables from the shrine. The new costs, or I guess the new values of teachable perks will be 200k blood points for the newer perks, and then 150k blood points for the old perks. And then let me just show you guys how you can buy cosmetics here. You basically just go to the cosmetic you want. You choose whether to buy it with Auric Cells or Iridescent Shards. And then you can click on one of them and it'll ask you to confirm. So I'll use my shards for this outfit. And then you press OK. You hear that sound and you have it. And then it deducts your shards, and you can equip automatically. And then for the same for Auric Cells, you click the Auric Cells option, and then you can buy it and automatically equip it if you so choose. If you want to see all the cosmetics that are in the store, I do have a video cycling through every single one of them, with timestamps of where each character is, so you can go to the specific character you want to see. Now this currency packs options is where you'll be able to look at the different Auric Cell packages. As I said before, the packages will be $500 for $5, $1,100 for $10, $2,250 for $20, $4,025 for $35, and $6,000 for $50. Now let's move on to the big change that a lot of people are most either excited about or not excited about, and that is the palette change. The palette change is a big kind of game mechanic changing one that's happening in this patch, and they have a lot of text in the notes explaining in detail how they changed it. But the quick rundown is they removed the palette vacuum. So basically survivors will now always stay on the same side of the palette when triggering the drop interaction, and the way they do this is, as you can see in this example here, as I run through the pallet, I do not get that drop prompt until I'm on the other side of the pallet. So even if you spam spacebar, you actually will not drop it until you get to the other side. So this means that you physically have to run through the pallet before you are able to drop it, and it gives killers a bigger window for being able to hit a survivor that is running around pallets. Now, there is this other thing that I noticed in the public test build, and I'm not sure if this was intentional or if it was a bug, but if you're standing at a pallet and you're holding down shift, you cannot throw the pallet. You have to move to the other side of the pallet to throw it. So that was interesting to me, and I guess that's how they fixed the vacuum, is that basically, if you're pressing shift, you're running. And so if you're not running, there's no reason to be pressing shift, because as soon as you let go of shift, the drop prompt will come up again. So you just can't hold shift anymore and camp a pallet. You have to go through that pallet if you happen to be holding shift in order to throw it. So camping a pallet becomes a lot more risky this way, because you can't be ready to run right away. And they also adjusted the dimensions of the pallet stun hitbox, so it is the same on both sides, because apparently for the pallets, one side of the hitbox was larger than the other, which is probably the reason why survivors would sometimes get BS stuns that didn't make any sense because you weren't close to the pallet, but it still stunned you somehow. And that's it for the pallet change. Now let's look at some of the balance adjustments. So they have adjusted the speed boost received by survivors when hit by the killer to be a fixed value instead of a variable over time, so that survivors have more control when they get hit. Next, all characters now start with their 3 personal perks unlocked by default at tier 1. This is amazing for new players, because now you can actually test out the perks. You don't have to invest a lot of time getting blood points just to unlock the perks to see what they do. You can just play that character, see if you like their perks. If you like their perks, you can level them up. That being said, for the first time you go into a character's screen, I think if you select them, it will have this new screen here that says what their 3 teachable perks are, and you can hover over them to read their descriptions. Another thing they have made easier is they have adjusted when the perk slots unlock. So now the level requirements for unlocking perk slots has been reduced to level 5, 10, and 15. And one more thing is, if you hover over a perk that is someone's teachable perk, it actually now says the name of the character who owns that perk, which is really cool. So if you're a new survivor, or even if you are a new killer, and you don't know what this perk is when you hover over it, it tells you who it comes from, which is really nice. A lot of quality of life improvements here for new players. Some survivor perks saw adjustments in this patch. The first being Dead Hard, which has a new animation to it, so it is more clear when it activates. And they removed the speed boost of Dead Hard while in the air to fix a variety of exploits on maps, because as many of you know, you could use Dead Hard to bounce off of objects and go into crazy places. So you no longer get a speed boost if you are going through the air, it's only while you're on the ground. Balance landing got buffed in this patch because it now says stagger effects are reduced by 75% at all tiers without cooldown. And then all tiers also get the sprint for 150% for 3 seconds. The only thing that changes between tiers now is how long the exhaustion timer is. So it's the same as all exhaustion perks, it's 60, 50, 40. So that is a nice buff to balanced landing. And finally, Stakeout's progression is no longer lost when consuming a token. Now let's get into some killer-specific fixes. For killers, they changed hook auras to always be visible from the killer's standpoint while carrying a survivor, because before, hook auras only showed if hidden behind other objects. Another thing is that they have made the auras of generators a lot more red. So before they were more orange-sided, now they are kind of vibrant red. And they also decreased Wraith Flashlight Uncloak Stun from 4 seconds to 3 seconds. And they decreased the range of activation for killer pickup interaction. So basically, you know how there was a pallet vacuum? Well, there was also a pickup vacuum. And so they got rid of that as well. And then They remove the possibilities for Doctor and Hag splinters spawning in bloodwebs since they can be bought with iridescent shards. There is also obviously the new killer and survivor with their new perks and the killer's new power. If you want to see those, I also have a video going over specifically that, which I will link for you. Bloodlust on Hillbilly has been fixed so that it no longer resets at the end of his chainsaw. It will now always reset at the start of his chainsaw. Next are the Huntress fixes. First, they fixed an issue that caused blood spatters to appear on the Huntress's screen when hitting someone with a hatchet, and they fixed mini collisions on various maps, so Huntress hatchets can now go over them, such as the pickup trucks on Autohaven maps. So you will now be able to actually get those hatchet hits that look like they should hit. And the final killer that got fixes is the Doctor, and his fix was for his hallucinations, which will now match whatever cosmetic he is wearing, which is very important for him since that is a very important part of his power. And his hallucinations now have the new animation to them, where they are kind of hunched over with their weapon being bounced up and down, like they're gonna get ready to hit you, basically, kind of what the Doctor looks like in his punishment mode. So he could potentially catch you off guard if you're in a chase and the hallucination appears in the perfect spot. And those are the killer fixes. Now I'm going to talk about some map adjustments. So they have added a few new totem spawn points in the buildings of Macmillan Estate, and I think they mean the maps too because I did notice new totem placements on the maps themselves as well. They said pallet loops in Macmillan Estate, Autohaven Wreckers, and Coldham Farm themes have been tweaked to increase their fun factor. The loops weren't changed that drastically, but I think they just altered the distances slightly and moved some objects, so it's kind of harder to always keep an eye on the killer. They have fixed the two hooks spawning like right next to each other side by side by making it so the number of hooks for each map is based on its number of tiles, which has made a lot of interesting new hook spawns as well. They removed a pallet from the bottom preschool building tile, so inside the preschool itself there is not as many pallets in here, making the preschool a lot less annoying for killers and more dangerous for survivors. Torment Creek and Rented Abattoir map layouts have been adjusted to create more distance between the maze tiles, and then they adjusted Survivor on Survivor spawning rules in order to minimize occurrences of killers spawning close to survivors. And those are the map changes. They are doing an achievement change as well, because basically the adept achievements for Dwight, Meg, Claudette, Jake, Trapper, Wraith, and Hillbilly say unlock their 3 teachable perks, but all the characters after that say either survive a match with their 3 unique perks only, or get a merciless victory with their 3 unique perks. So it's not consistent. So they were going to update the adept achievements for all the characters I just said to be like how all the new adept achievements are in order to keep things consistent. And finally, we have some adjustments to the number values of blood points scoring during a game, as well as how many points you need to get emblems of a certain quality. Emblems now have a fancy new sound on the emblem awarded screen. And those are all the changes that were made in the patch 2.0 public test build. Keep in mind, this is the public test build, and these patch notes do not reflect the actual 2.0 patch notes, but will most likely be the patch 2.0 patch notes. Feel free to comment below about what you think about these patch notes. And thank you very much for watching. I hope you found this video informative, and as always, good luck out there in the fog, and see you next time.